What is going on, YouTube? PPS back for our last one. Blast past the prop for our NFL season. We're finishing up the year talking about the Super Bowl. Obviously, we're getting down and at it. There's thousands and thousands of prop bets we could be going to this week, but we're coming at you guys with a little bit more of our quote unquote normal bets that are normally going to be out there. Obviously, we gave you guys some crazy ones on Wednesday, but joined by Stu. As always, how we doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We've worked all season long to get that bankroll up, and now we have about 10,000 props that we can decide between for Super Bowl Sunday. It's the ultimate kind of everybody comes together. You're allowed to be a little bit of a degen at the party. You're not the only one with the heads or tails bet. Okay, so it feels good. It's a nice time to be a sports bettor. So I'm very excited.
And talking about the 10,000 bets, I think we got the guy with the most I've seen in of anyone on Mr. Gambling Twitter, Mr. Birdman. How we doing, my man?
Good, man. It's definitely a bit weird with, the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Definitely throws a little bit of a wrench into kind of approaching. I'm trying to get everything that I can in before Sunday so I can just kind of enjoy the Super Bowl there. Probably won't even know if I'm up or down until like a day after.
I love it. Vaughn, we haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Happy to be back for sure. This is an awesome time. I mean, fly Eagles fly, right, Birdman? I want the Eagles wins partially because I want to see the city of Philadelphia burnt down, or at least a couple of Jeep Cherokees or that type of stuff. So. This is awesome. Anytime you get the Eagles or any of Philadelphia in a major sporting event, it's going down.
Beautiful. And yeah, I know. I think we've had this is my Packers, obviously nowhere close. Stu's Washington Commanders, nowhere close. So that's what we've been dealing with this year. That's what we've been talking about for hometown teams. So I guess it's nice to actually talk about a team that is a little bit more successful than ours has been. I know Stu just loves talking Eagles football, don't you, Stu?
Well, I've been getting some hate, for my Eagles opinions over the last couple seasons. That's why we had to have a guy, especially like Birdman, on here who makes it very known he's an Eagles fan. We have to have the energy cancel out a little bit. But I'm going to say it once again, I bet on the Eagles in 2 straight weeks. So it's not like I'm a complete enemy, okay? I'm coming on board when the time is right. So I don't know what these fine gentlemen think about the outcome. I don't know if we have some Eagles bets already in, but I think we're going to find out in a couple minutes.
Yeah, in a few minutes here, we'll pop right in. I believe we have one on the money line there. But with us just getting in here, if you guys could hit that like button before we get into it. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of game action here. Like I said, a little bit more of the normal bets today. And Stu kind of brought up that money line spot. So, V-Money, you ready to take it away with your first one here?
Yeah, might as well. Birdman, get hype. I'm on the train. I think the Eagles do it, baby. I've seen a lot of people on my side as well. A lot of my colleagues at NBC are out there this year at Super Bowl. Luckily, I went last year. A couple people went this year. And they're saying a lot of the professional bettors and NFL players are also rolling with the Eagles. But when I look at a couple of things in this game, obviously the Eagles have the better defense of the two teams. That front four gets the most pressure in the NFL out of any unit. They don't even need the blitz, but, they're going to throw some blitzes at Mahomes. We'll see how mobile he really is. We know Jalen Hurts has his own issues as well, but I think these two quarterbacks will look fine. I don't think we're going to see many issues between the two, and there's a couple notable stats that go into this game. Start with the spread. As we're talking about the money line, I'll never take a -1.5. I think that's the stupidest thing in all of sports betting. But to each their own. But whenever we see a spread move 2 or more points in a Super Bowl, the team that has the spread gone in their favor has gone 14-4 ATS and 16-2 on the money line. So that's an 89% hit rate on the money line. Obviously, very good numbers for the Eagles. But we know the Eagles get out to early starts. Best first half team in all of football. Chiefs are right up there with them too. The secondary is tops in DOA, front seven. Everything the Eagles do, I've loved. I know the schedule hasn't been sexy. They haven't played anybody or any quarterbacks, but the Chiefs are not 100% healthy. Like I've said all year, Juju, not a number one. Kadarius can only do so much. McCole Hardman's banged up. We'll see what we get out of the Chiefs, but I definitely like the Eagles in the spot, so I took the money line.
Beautiful. Birdman, I'll kick this to you. What or we just full on agreements here?
Yeah, so first thing I'll say, you said that the Commanders aren't anything close to the championship, but if the Eagles win, it'd be the only team that did beat Jalen Hurts this year. So that's as close to the championship as you can get. Yeah, so I actually, like Vaughn was just saying about 1.5, I actually snagged the Eagles at plus 1.5 when it opened.
I like that. That's acceptable.
It also was like at the time, points bets, they had like the money line at minus 105 or something. So I didn't lose an opportunity to bet plus money. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think you are going to see both of these offenses find some success here. It's just, I just see a lot of ways that the Eagles can win this game. I don't see how the Chiefs are going to be able to stop the running game. If they do load the box, I mean, you're putting a few rookies on one-on-one coverage on either Devonta, Goddard, or AJ, and it's going to be a recipe for disaster. I know they had some success last week, but AJ Brown is, substantially more of a physical wide receiver than either T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. T. Higgins did have some success as well. So yeah, I'm totally on board with that. I think the Eagles take it.
Yeah, I mean, well, look, I don't know. It's a tough one for me. I personally will probably be betting pretty small on the Chiefs to win right here. I don't have a strong take. I agree with a lot of stuff that's been said so far. The Eagles do. It's kind of like a pretty simple storyline right here. The Eagles are better in almost every single department, and then they're going up against the best quarterback in the league and the best coach in the league in a nice little 1-2 punch with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to kind of trust that the best quarterback coach combo prevails. I think it'll be an extremely close game. I don't know if you guys submit the final scores at all or whatever. I went 28-27 Chiefs. So I'm giving my respect to the Eagles. I think it'll be a great game, but I'm kind of hoping Patrick Mahomes, who do I trust with 2 minutes left on the clock and they have to win a game? They have to use their arm to win that game. At the end of the day, I think Patrick Mahomes is the guy I want to side with in this one, but I think it'll be real close.
I will say it is going to be close. I mean, the Chiefs rarely lose by more than 4 points. The Eagles have blown a lot of teams out. I saw they're 7-1 versus playoff teams this year with a point differential of plus 115. So that's, ultimately impressive, but we know they're not going to smack the Chiefs. I'm looking for a live bet spot on the Chiefs. If I can get a touchdown, I'm scooping that up. There's one stat out there. 90 out of 93 games Mahomes has started, they've been winning with one score of their opponent. So, yep. I mean, if they're losing, they'll be close.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely I definitely agree with you there, Vaughn. It's funny because the one of those 3 losses was in a somewhat similar type of scenario, right, with the team like the Bucs, right, that had a good D line and everything. Although the Chiefs in that game did have offensive line issues, I think the Chiefs' offensive line will hold up better than some people think. I just, I can't get over the skill position guys. You're really Mahomes has got to be great, where Hurts might not need to be great in this game.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Love that breakdown. Obviously, we're going to head. I think we'll stay in all the Eagles bets here. I believe each one of you guys has an Eagles bet, or a prop bet along the side there. So we'll go over to you, Bird. Man, bringing us one I was not expecting to see today. I was not expecting to see Mr. Boston Scott on the card today.
Yeah, some of the books don't even have him offered, but he's hit the 6 rushing yards and 12-17 on the year, including 4 straight. He likely needs 2 carries for this. He could get it on 1. That's definitely possible. If he gets 3 behind this offensive line, I think he definitely hits it. I think there's a lot of game script potential for him to get these carries. And, if they're winning the game, obviously, right, if it's a blowout, I don't really see it happening. But second half, he's definitely a change of pace. The way they've been using Gainwell, a lot too. But you see his carries are at 4.5 when he's had double-digit the past 2 games in some of the wider margin type games. But I just like him to come in and be a little change of pace. They like him in those tight spots, right? They only need maybe a couple yards here on 3rd down, a little small back to get the first down. I think 6 is a little short here. You see a lot of the books are at 7.5, some 8.5. I've even seen 9.5 with standard juice. So I'll happily play the minus 130, minus 135, whatever you can find it on PointsBet.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. Like, this is tough for me because I like this number too. I think it's really low right here. You're kind of taking advantage of a good line. The biggest thing, though, and I know we got some, Eagles opinions here. What do you guys think is the deal with this backfield? It feels so not secure. I see a lot of people on Kenneth Gainwell as the guy that they're going to this week. Obviously, has some inflated numbers, but both of those are coming off back-to-back game scripts that I don't think we're even going to get close to, right? So, in an absolutely close game, right? Is Boston Scott maybe going to get more carry than Kenneth Gainwell? Like, do you guys have a good read on how this backfield is going to be organized? Because I don't, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close. I'll say last year's Super Bowl, I took an under 5.5 rushing yards on Samaje Perine, but that was against the Rams. And that was a game where I was like, that's not happening. Boston Scott has a much better advantage matchup against the Chiefs than Perine had against the Rams. But as you said, Stu, I think Kenneth Gainwell, I saw Sirianni had quotes saying he's earned getting more time. He's going to play more. Leading up to the Super Bowl, I don't know how true that's going to be. But I do think a situation where Boston Scott gets 2 carries, he gets 6 yards in this game. And you saw Jalen Hurts, he can spread the ball out, and this offense is run-oriented. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this. I probably wouldn't go crazy on it more than a unit, but I like it.
Yeah, I think for the Eagles to win this game, they're going to have to run the ball efficiently, right? We know this, right? Like, that has to be a part of it. And I think the benefit that they have is with having these different running backs, using them either out of the backfield or just running the ball, the more versatile that they are, the better off they're going to be in this game. I just see scenarios where they're going to use all three. I just think he's going to be on the field just because he can do some different things here. And just his size and quickness, I feel like Sirianni is going to find some ways to just get him the ball. And I know he is. I like all the running backs. I have bets on all 3 running backs in some way, shape, or form because I do think the Eagles win this game. And the main, train that would be rolling for that to happen is the run game. So, I think they're all going to be involved. But like you said, actually, picking one, it's tough.
Well, can I ask a question before we move on? I'm curious. I don't know if PPS has any take on this one. You guys know I love first quarter, no matter what sport we're betting on. We can actually bet on first quarter lines right now. Miles Sanders' first quarter rushing is at 12.5. It's gotten a little bit juiced up. Obviously, I think I see minus 140 right now. But you kind of mentioned it earlier when you said change of pace. That seems to be the key thing, is that Gainwell and Scott are getting involved a little bit later in the game, while Miles Sanders does have that kind of early game usage. So is that a line that interests you guys? Because I think I might take it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I do have a smaller bet on Jalen Hurts to be the first player to 15 rushing yards at like plus 320 or something like that. And a way that I was going to, I guess you can call it somewhat of a hedge, is just take Miles Sanders over 12.5 rushing yards, where it's like, okay, I still think he can hit that number even if Hurts gets 15 first. And if I lose the bet, then he definitely is going to be getting 12.5 probably first. So I do like that. I think it was minus 145 a little bit earlier in the week, but compared to some other books, I think his line's like 17.5, or it's a few yards. Like a lot of other books have him a few yards higher. So I think you're talking about DraftKings on that. But since we still have it on the screen, the thing with points bets and why this Boston Scott line even comes available is they only move their props by 5 yards. It's like the weirdest thing ever. Where like I saw it at 10.5 with minus 130 to the under. Somebody probably comes in and hammers it. They don't drop it to 9.5. They drop it back to 5.5. So they just keep it in that 5 yard range. For me, it's just like, it's kind of weird that they always do that. It's for a lot of markets there, so a bit interesting. But I do like the Sanders 12.5. I was considering taking that juice as well.
This is a question for you, Stu, on that play, because have you ever seen a first quarter bet with minus 145 juice to the over, but only minus 110 to the under?
No, I haven't. I noticed they're doing that a little bit, not just with this bet. I think I saw one earlier with like a minus 130 to the over and a minus 120 to the under. You know, they're definitely hitting you with some weird stuff right there. But yeah, to take that under, I would need plus money for sure. So maybe a little bit of a sign right there too. They're not super interested in getting that under action.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. I like that bet a lot. It makes total sense to me. I think that's probably the best way to approach all the running backs on the Eagles side in this game.
Oh, are you there,
PPS
Justin?
is muted.
Yeah, I think you're muted. Or going through something right now. Okay, he's putting my enough on. We can't hear you right now. I don't know if a reconnection is needed or something, but hey, you guys can't hear me either, right? It's not just me.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
I can't hear him. But...
Oh, you can hear him?
No, I can't.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to go into Jalen Hurts touchdown right here.
Yeah, no. Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Go ahead, Stu. You might as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown right here. This one's plus 100. If there's any prop that could be interrupted a little bit, it's probably this one, because I've talked about Jalen Hurts to score a touchdown in like 3 straight weeks right here. It's one of my absolute favorite. I'm surprised we're still getting plus 100. It's still on FanDuel right now. Just checked it before the show started. I think it should probably be like minus 130 in most spots, but we're still getting a pretty good price right here. And I just love Hurts to score a touchdown. One of the biggest things for me has been really the designed run usage. In the first half of the season, he was lapping the rest of the league in designed runs. I mean, even guys like Justin Fields, who kind of had that same reputation, were still, almost half of the design runs he had. And that really translates in the red zone, and that translate with those little 4th down conversions they always run with the quarterback sneak. And Hurts has so many different ways he can beat you. We kind of saw it slow down a little bit in the midway point. He got injured for those couple weeks. The rushing usage was down. As soon as we get back into playoff team, the full playbook is suddenly opened back up, and they're going right back to heavily using Hurts in the end zone. I mean, it literally ran 2 straight quarterback sneaks in one of these playoff games, a quarterback sneak just to set up the quarterback sneak on the next play. So they're clearly, they know the advantage of that play. They know how much success they've had in that formation so far this season. I think Hurts keeps it going in the red zone right here. Love plus 100.
I love that. I saw a stat, 24 of his last 26 sneaks were successful, that they're the best QB sneak team in all of football. So, yeah, I mean, I love that too. I put him in a lot of my same game parlays. I was thinking about playing him as my only touchdown score bet because I felt the most confident about him too.
Yeah, I always love to see the plus money on there. Sorry, it popped out there for a second. That was weird. My dog found his way underneath my thing and got my charger out. So that's always good to have that in the middle of one of these. So that is, I believe, all the Eagles bets on the show here. We have a few of the straight bets here coming for Vaughn here coming to start us off. But I believe the rest of them are going to be Chiefs related. So we'll swap on over there. But I'll kick it to you, Vaughn, because you're talking totals. We love that you're on a side and a total here. And let's hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I like the under 51, which a lot of people are loving the over. I want to say 3 of my best friends from high school already texted me this week and said, I think this could be the highest scoring Super Bowl ever. I said, that's great news to me. So, I mean, I get it. Everyone's going to – I think that Mahomes and Hurts are going to be healthier than normal. But have you seen Mahomes play in Super Bowls so far? He does not care about ball security. He tries to make plays, and he's going to have to do a lot of that, in my opinion. He has 4 interceptions in his 2 Super Bowls. I mean, we've already talked about all these receivers and their inexperience in the big moments. Obviously, Travis Kelce's the only guy of all the weapons that Mahomes has that has this type of experience. But totals in the Super Bowl of 50 or more, there's only been 13 of them, 9, 3, and 1 to the under. So obviously that's a good statistic to have behind you. But I want to say the Chiefs don't do very well pressure-wise. When I was looking at some stats with their pressures, and so they're ranked 3rd in EPA per play when they got pressure, and they were dead last in EPA when they didn't get pressure on the quarterback or contact with the quarterback. That's not great news, but then Jalen Hurts completed 45% of his passes under pressure this year. So really, what type of Chiefs defense are we going to see against this Eagles O-line? And I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be quick to be throwing 20, 30-yard outs. They're going to be very protective with this ball and use his legs and run clock and try and get 4th down. So I think we're going to see field goals. I think we're going to see long drives, and I think we're going to see some turnovers. So I like the under 51 in this spot.
Yeah, I like this with us betting on our cross sports stuff. I'm on my biggest bet of the weekend so far is the UFC title fight. More high total rounds over the amount of touchdowns the Eagles score in the game. So we're hoping it goes all 5. So I don't know if we're going to see 5 touchdowns. So that'd be good for this. I would love to see that. Bird, you got a thought on this one? We talked about how the Eagles are one of the best first half teams. You thinking on the under or are you thinking on the over here?
I don't have so oddly of my 70 whatever bets. I don't have a bet on the actual total. So my gut, like the first correct or one of the first bets I made was Eagles. Both sides actually 27-23. When the total's at about 50. When I look at some correct scores, I obviously like to see like potential game script stuff like that. But I do like to match the total to how I feel as well. At the time, it was kind of moving 49.5 to 50.5. You're falling right in that middle of that, right? Like Vegas would love that in some regards, right? But I think it is going to be kind of right at that number. I don't really have a feeling over or under because I think we're going to get 50-51 is really where I think it lands. Whether that's 27-23, 27-24, I think you're going to see some points, but that's mainly because, I think the Eagles are going to have success running the ball, getting, some scenarios, like you said, with the turnovers. I think you're going to have some short fields potentially. But I don't hate the under 51, especially as it keeps rising. I mean, if I can get a 51.5 or this keeps going up, I doubt it's going to get to like 53, but I would definitely bet it if it did get to 53. But yeah, so I would say it's probably right in range where it's going to end.
I don't think we're going to see any line movement on the total, the over. Like we don't really see that much in the Super Bowl. Like everything is sharp. We may see some of these props get juiced, in my opinion, but we've already seen the line kind of fluctuate, and I think it's kind of set where it's set now at this point.
I agree.
It opened at 51.5 at some places, went down to 49.5, and everyone that won the over snatched the over. And now it's back to where the number where it opened as. And I think, like you said, grabbing the Eagles at +1.5, everyone that pretty much wanted the Eagles have got the Eagles already. They got them far before I've given out the Eagles money line today. So that's kind of how I've seen it been played out. But I think this market's sharp as it's going to be. I agree. It's not going to be a 55-point game or a 44-point game. It's definitely going to be closer to the number. But I like the under.
Well, I'll just add something real quick. With you saying that is like I do think that there's a stronger chance we see like 24-20 than 35-31.
Yeah.
So
in the fourth quarter, these teams they're trying to score and put the game away too, and like time management, trying to figure out how they can win this game. And I think that's going to be a key too, because if we don't see a high scoring first quarter, I don't think we're going to see a high scoring fourth quarter. So you're really going to need points early in this game. And I'll say Andy Reid, phenomenal script writer. All right, we've been loving the NFL scripts and all this stuff lately. But talking about a coach that scripts the first 10 to 20 plays of a game, Andy Reid is one of the best at that. And Nick Sirianni is right up there as well. But like we said, with the Chiefs and all what they've got going on, it's going to be interesting to see how Mahomes does against the pressure that he gets, because we know the Eagles are coming with 4 guys with 11 or more sacks this season. So, it's going to be great, but I just can't see it. And if all my friends are thinking it's going to be high scoring, and where I'm seeing the biggest bets are from the sharpest people I respect are taking the under, and they got it the first day it came out, I think I'm more confident taking the under than the over here too.
Yeah, I don't do totals too much, but I'll just say, like, I was kind of leaning the over also. Like, that's kind of where I was going at first. But, man, every single, like, smart person that I respect, I think, is on the under in this game. And, like, all my friends that have watched one game all year are like, dude, this one's going way over. So, like, it's kind of one of those situations where I backed myself into kind of liking the over a little bit early. But I don't know if I want to be associated with that clan right now, because it's looking like sharps versus squares, kind of obvious so far.
Yeah, maybe the morning of, you just see a bunch of people just throwing hammers on the over, get that extra half point, something like that. How many people are going to be depositing to a sports book. Many of them are going to probably go down, right? They say, throw 100. I think there's going to be a lot of points, something to cheer for. Because if you're, I'm going to say, if you're a novice bettor and you don't bet very much, who wants to bet an under, right? We do it, right? Because we actually think it's sharp and that's where we want to make money. These guys, they just want to drink, enjoy the game, cheer for points, right? And that's really where I kind of think we might see it half point go up, right? We might see it at 51.5, then definitely jump on that because 51 is obviously a pretty big number here. Did you have something, Vaughn, before we move on here?
Now I was going to just say the sharpest bets I think in the Super Bowl you can make are usually unders. They worked out a lot for me last year, and I would say I'd go back to them a lot. Like, we're not going to talk about Jerick McKinnon too much on here, I don't think. But, this first day the props came out, I played his under 23.5. It's down to 19.5 or 20.5 everywhere, and I think it's going to get lower. But I think a lot of sharps grab unders right away that they know are going to get smaller. And then guys that are going to get beat up like Travis Kelce, you could wait and probably get his under like 82, 83 compared to people playing the 77 right now, 79.5. So that's kind of how you approach Super Bowl weekend, in my opinion, when you're playing totals on people.
Perfect. And we're going to an over. We're going to Birdman's spot here. A guy who's been very good to us on the show so far this season. A market I haven't really dove into ever, I don't think.
So he's actually only hit this in 7 of 19 games this year. But this is the Super Bowl. We talked about the experience gap that he has per pretty much every other Chief outside of Mahomes. The Eagles aren't the best versus tight ends. We know of the the potential injuries or being banged up for a lot of those wide receivers. We know even if they do play, Kelce is the most reliable. He has had 10-plus targets in 5 of his last 8 playoff games, averaging 11.5 targets over that span. We just saw him have 14 catches against the Jags. Mahomes, like we said, we expect him to feel some pressure from this D line. You're going to see a lot of shorter passes to Kelce. Those targets are going to rack up. If they're trailing, any 2-minute scenarios, Kelce's the guy. I think as far as the D line getting pressure, there's scenarios here where that's why I like the targets over the receptions. Is he could just be getting a lot of targets, throwing the ball to him under pressure. It might not connect, but targets, It doesn't matter. So if you say they go out there, one of the receivers is kind of banged up, the Eagles know this. They put single coverage on him. He might just be forcing the ball to Kelce. I think you're going to just see a lot of targets peppered to the best player on the team. I just can't imagine many game scripts that he doesn't get 10 targets in this game.
I love this spot. I didn't even know you could bet targets, honestly. It's something I know it's like I've been on prize picks a little bit this year, but not any major bucks. But like we've kind of said, that's what the Super Bowl gives you. You can finally bet on everything. And I love this spot. I kind of agree. I think Kelce is the focal point of every game plan pretty much every single week. Now it's the biggest game of the year. Kelce is clearly his favorite target. He's also a safety blanket. He's like their number one explosive weapon, but he's also the guy that gets those little 3-yard checkdowns. So you want to attack the Chiefs anywhere but the Eagles anywhere but the secondary. You don't want to mess with those two guys on the outside with Bradbury and Slay. So I like this spot a lot. I'm very eager to tell you right here and check out this market a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous, to be honest. I bet Travis Kelce over 7.5 receptions at plus 120 because I was like, that's plus 120 is pretty good value for that. I know the hit rates aren't there and everything, but like we said, the volume's going to be there because of the Super Bowl. And the Eagles, they're 6th in DVOA against tight ends, but they haven't faced a tight end like Travis Kelce. He's the best in the NFL. But I do like the targets look over receptions. I don't have a book that offers that, but I encourage people that do have a book that offers that to take that bet over the receptions, especially if you're not getting plus money anymore.
Yeah, I also hope I think more people have been talking about Mahomes hopefully looking a little more healthy too. And how many times you see him rolling out, and even if it's a throwaway, right? Even if it's a throwaway, it's usually towards Kelce. Chucks it at his feet on those like tight end weird screens that they run. That they're like the only team that runs this because it's just so weird. How many of those little underneath shovel passes that count for targets too? So Andy Reid is just so good at designing these plays and finding a way to get it in his best players' hands. I love this. I second what Vaughn said because I don't have a book that offers targets, but I wish. I might have to go find one. I might have to text some buddies up and say, hey, you want to load this one up for me?
Okay, in the same vein, before we move on, what do you guys like? I bet Kelce to have the first Chiefs reception at plus 300. What are we thinking about that one?
As long as it's not MVS.
I like it. there's too much uncertainty for everyone else on that offense. I think that's a great spot. In that same market, I actually found Goddard at 5-1, which I thought was absurd. Like, I understand that the two receivers on the outside are great, but a 5-yard little hitch route or something like right out of the gate is 5-1. I think it dropped to plus 450 on Bet Rivers if you guys have that. But yeah, Kelsey at 3-1. I might have to add that.
Yeah, it's the only disappointing part about this market is, how much money is going to be flushed down the toilet after I lose tails and then I lose my national anthem bet and then I lose the first catch. They're setting me up for failure right here, but maybe they'll all win. Who knows?
Here's a wild one that I found that I didn't know if I was going to talk about at all, but I'm only going to throw a couple bucks on it, but it's plus 9,000. And it was
right. That's all you need to say. I think we're good. We're all in now.
Kadarius Toney to be the first player to 20 rushing yards. And what if he gets a reverse or some type of trick play early, or the first drive, and he gets a nice run, or a backwards pass that it's a screen, but it goes backwards, and he gets 20 yards. And I saw that, and I was like, $3 to win like 270. I don't hate that. But, I'm not going to tell anyone like drop $50 on it because you're definitely going to be upset more than likely. But I saw that and I was like, I think that value is way off, to be honest. I know it's not a prop anyone's looking at, but.
No, I like that. I was worried I was going to hate it, honestly. But as someone that's been betting on Kadarius Toney, every time you're kind of like, was that a catch? Was that behind the line of scrimmage? Like, it's really hard to tell. So, you're pretty much betting on a chunk play, but the odds kind of reflect that. So I like it. That's worth a shot for me. I'm in.
Beautiful.
It's a prop bet in the Super Bowl. I'm in.
That's going to be number 75. That gets you to a nice round milestone number. That's number 75 right there. And I will drop my only play here for the straight ones. Obviously, I put a lot of other crazy ones out there. I'm going Mahomes completions. It's been a play I've been liking to back in these games with a little higher total for the Chiefs. 2-1 to this number in 2020 playoffs. Last year it was 3-0, and obviously 1-1 this year so far. I really, really like that. We talked about the Eagles being the number one scoring first half team. I think that's really important. Definitely going to have to make the most of every single drive for the Chiefs, and we're going to see a lot of throws. We're going to see a lot of action. That's why I love the targets line for Kelsey so much, because I'm already on this one as my biggest straight bet here. I just can't get away from this one. We talked about the Eagles' pressure rate being one of the highest in the NFL. I think they're going to have to get it out. It's almost like the game last week where Burrow's linemen, right, where they were a little bit beat up, so got to get the ball out quick. It's not like you don't have receivers that are good in space here either, right? You still got Toney, who's fantastic in space. I won't give MVS a compliment on the show, unfortunately. That's even for the Super Bowl, I still won't do it, even though he had a massive game last time. But yeah, I had too much bad blood there for me. But hopefully he can still come through for us with Mahomes here, getting some of those dump off targets. I like that Vaughn talked about the Kelsey receptions. I think that's a great spot as well. But this will be my biggest straight bet of the Super Bowl here with 25.5 completions for Mahomes here.
Yeah, no, this is one of those that kind of goes with the game script that we've talked about a decent amount, right? Of that we both kind of can all agree that there's going to be some points scored in this game. I think most of us kind of, even Vaughn at the under, still kind of thinking that 48 range makes a lot of sense. We're going to see the Chiefs have to keep up with the best team that they've played all year this season. So I think it'll be interesting. I think at the end of the day, Andy Reid's going to script plenty of these short little completions. We know the Eagles are number one in sacks. They're number one in pressure rate. They get to the quarterback very well. Mahomes is going to have to kind of offset that. We're going to see Jerick McKinnon dump offs. We're going to see Toney, all those guys, even Juju with another really low ADOT, and Kelsey, another sub-10 ADOT. Pretty much every guy on this team except MVS is a sub-10 ADOT. So they're going to be kind of going a little bit more slowly down the field. I definitely like completions as a look right here.
You didn't mention Pacheco.
Yeah.
But
6 for 59 last week.
Yeah.
I thought I was a little scared of this line at first because Mahomes had 26 completions in both the Super Bowls he's always played in. So I kind of felt like they just threw 25.5 out there because he did it twice. They're like, say he won't do it a third time. But I'm kind of like, I think he will do it a third time. I think the line is kind of lower now, in that other game against the Bucs. I think Birdman, you said it, the Chiefs had O-line issues. And he was having trouble with pressure, like getting the ball out right away. He was getting hit so quick. And we'll see what happens this time around, but I definitely think the Chiefs' offensive line is better intact for that. And Andy Reid this time around is even more prepared, and he's more seasoned. He's like you said, I got endless energy for a chubby guy. He's drawing up all these great plays. I think Mahomes will get completions, but he's going to have a hard time getting those long completions. It's going to be chopping up short, and the Eagles will live with that.
It's also funny because when you watch that Super Bowl, there was like 6 that like hit people's helmets, right? Like directly in the helmet. Like someone put up like a hype video of it, and it was like, damn, he could have had like 30 completions in that game, even with it, Mm-hmm. No, I like it. And if you, let me ask you this, PPS, if you like the over, not to talk about your guy, but MVS receptions is at like 2.5. I did take his like receiving yardage total, but I tried to do the math in my head, kind of thinking like, how would the 20, even if he got to just 25 completions, how that would grade out across all the players, right? Assuming Kelsey gets 10, and you're like 15 has to be split between 2 running backs and whatever receivers play. If he's the healthiest dude, I feel like 3 is like a floor. I mean, 2 is probably the floor, right? But like, yeah. I don't know. 2, it's like minus 120 at some books. That's like really not bad. I know it's coming off of a good game. You never really want to bet anybody, right? It's like the worst time to bet people is like the sharpest market in the world after a good game. But do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, no, I just had a lot of times where I kind of had this exact same feeling when he was with Rodgers, and he would get like the first 2 very quickly and then have at least 2 or 3 drops. Like you guys haven't got to see the full MVS package of drops that he's going to have. And that's kind of what I expect to happen here, because everyone's going to look at the last game log and be like, yes, I like that. Blah, he's getting all these targets. And he's going to do what he used to do, right? I don't think he evolved. He runs the same routes as he ran before, right? He has like 3 different routes that he runs, and that's what his whole route tree is. It's just I have bad blood, though. I'm not going to take away anybody else betting it. It's just in my heart, I just know what he's done to me in the past. So I this one is like one of the only ones I hold a grudge over.
It's kind of hard picking any of the Chiefs. It's kind of hard picking any of the Chiefs receivers in here, or they're like receivers and running backs. They're all like at 2.5. Like literally, Tony, MVS, Pacheco's 1.5 or 2.5. McKinnon's 2.5 or 3.5. I mean, like, how do you choose between all these guys?
I'll talk about that in a second. But what I will say about that one right there, I don't know. MVS, I almost bet last night. I was writing an article. I almost bet James Harden more 3s than MVS catches. And it's a game against Houston, right? So you got that narrative. I'm thinking Harden hits up his favorite strip club. He's feeling good. He's back in, Houston. That's his city. I checked. The game is still in Philadelphia. So unfortunately, that was for me to not bet it. I want to get Harden in his most comfortable environment. So I stayed away, but I'd rather go MVS yards than receptions. I mean, some of those guys give you a nice 1 for 50 on 4 targets by the end of the game.
And 3 drops. I ended up doing. 3 drops too.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those cross-sport ones are interesting because, like you said, the one with Houston, like I found one that had the Sixers game Saturday versus the Nets. Like Goddard minus 1.5 receiving yards versus Embiid points plus rebounds.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think Goddard gets to 50. Does Embiid get to 50? I don't know. Probably. So it's betting two Philly players. So I'm like, if I lose, do I really lose? Because they probably beat the Nets up if he has like 60 PR. But like without the assists in there, I like it.
Let me ask you guys this, and feel free anyone to jump in here, because I'm supposed to not talk about this player that much because he grew up from where I grew up. But I think he's a good bet to the under, and it's my guy Sky Moore, under 10.5 receiving yards. I mean, I don't know. He had a pretty impressive game because he had to play a little more in the last game. He made a couple plays here and there, but they have no receptions props offered for my guy Sky. Only receiving yards at 10.5. That kind of implies it's going to be 0 receptions or 1 reception in this game, in my opinion. But do you guys have any thoughts on my guy Sky Moore at all?
Yeah, I mean, I can hop in right here. I was doing spaces yesterday with Brian versus the Bucks and Judd's picks, and someone came in and was pretty high. And the number was only like 6.5 or 7.5 last night. I think there's a little bit of a difference in some books because I saw that 10 that you saw also. And I was kind of the one hater on the play a little bit. I know a lot of people, it's easy to see that good game. It's easy to see all those targets and think, well, that's going to happen again this week. But it's kind of one of those situations where like half of their team got injured in that last game. And they still are injured. They do have Watson back, who wasn't in that game as well. The thing that worries me is if you're going to bet on a guy to get one catch, I'm not even sure Sky Moore gets those 10 yards in one catch. He's another really low ADOT, another gadget kind of player running those short. So it's not even like if he does get that one catch, you're guaranteed to get those 11 yards. You know, he might even need 2 or 3 catches to get there. And at that point, trusting a rookie gadget player over a guy like Kadarius Toney, over some of these other guys that are you know, just more ingrained in the lineup, I actually do kind of like the under. I might end up betting that one with you at 10.
Let's go.
I'm definitely taking that with you because, like, even if some of these guys are compromised, it's going to have to take one. At some point, they're going to say, let's just say Juju's running out there, you know, first quarter, he, you know, gets in the rhythm, doesn't really do much though, right? Just running routes. Then he says, oh, I'm hurt. He comes out, right? Like, they still have, like you just said, a few other guys, and it's not even guaranteed that he is going to get the looks. Like, they would need multiple injuries, obviously cluster injuries. And it's like you take an under because, you know, that's built in. That's great. You know, it's like, oh, I'm taking this guy's under. My only hope is like either catches one, I guess, medium route, or if 3 players get hurt, and then it's like, okay, well, if 3 players get hurt, I'm going to lose this bet. But like on the surface with those guys playing, and you can't assume, you know, how you can't handicap players to get re-injured, right? So it's like, I like that a lot.
Beautiful. And our last play, we're going to you, Stu, to finish it up. A guy we talked about a little bit throughout the show.
Yeah, I'm going Kadarius Toney receiving yards. This one, I got at 25, wrote about it a little bit yesterday. It's moved up 26, 27, 28 range on most books. Even I think I saw 30 somewhere out there. And I don't think it'll settle. I think it'll kind of go up and down a little bit. And then by Sunday, probably end up, 28 as the final number. But I think most of these are playable. And the reason I've loved Toney, I bet on Toney a lot. He's the reason that I'm banned from Fox Bet Sportsbook for catching some stale numbers last year. Toney's been great to me, right? This is one of those guys. He can make plays. We know it. He's very athletic. It's staying on. Okay, nice. I like that, by the way. Sorry, more.
Yeah,
on the 10.
Like I was saying, if people hammer that under, it's going to 5.5, not 7.
Yeah. I like that too. I saw on FanDuel it's at 10.5. So yeah, DKMG, DraftKings and MGM want you to bet the over.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of correlated. I think the Toney over and the Sky Moore are pretty correlated because they're running the same kind of route. Same with Mecole Hardman, who is the biggest reason that I like this play. Hardman's been actually good this season. When he's been healthy, it's been something fantasy guys. I know the best ball community has been waiting on for like 3 years. Every year we kind of think Hardman takes that step up. He's actually having a great year this year, but he is officially ruled out for this game, which means there is more of a role for one of these gadget guys to kind of step up. And I do think Toney is the clear choice over a guy like Sky Moore, who's just, rookie. I wouldn't say he's had the real game experience that you'd want in the Super Bowl, right? The biggest game of all. And we talked about it a little bit with the cornerbacks, right? Slay and Bradbury are such a scary outside corner duo. Toney's going to avoid a lot of that. Toney gets a lot of his matchups against linebackers, against safeties. They use him in a very creative way to kind of get him open over the middle. They get him on those screen passes. He's a gadget player at the end of the day, but I do think 27 yards is very attainable right here. I think it's one of those situations where he doesn't have the name value. He's had some injuries. I think people are scared, but the practice reports have been nothing but positive. I saw yesterday, the thing that finally made me pull the trigger was it was like he's running around like a madman out there, and that the only reason that he is questionable is just out of precaution. They wanted to keep him kind of under wraps. They didn't want any re-injury to occur. So I love the spot. If Toney's healthy out there, if he's playing a full load of snaps, then I'm going to be trusting him to go well over this number right here.
Beautiful. All right, we're pulling up right on our hour here. We're getting close. We'll make sure we go through our quick recap here. Thank you guys for dropping your comments in here. Obviously, Vaughn, I see, is posting some of the answers to your questions already in the comment section. Yep, you answered David there. Perfect. So I guess we can do a quick recap here, and then when Birdman pops on, I'll let VMoney and Birdman drop their favorite long shot crazy one, because me and Stu already did our full one. I'll let you guys drop some of your favorite or your top one that gets you on your list there. So I'll do your recap here, and I'll kick it to you, Vaughn, to start us off. And if Bird's not here, I'll just take his over.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm on the Eagles money line as my game pick in that one. I just think the defense will set itself apart here, and hopefully they get a nice first half lead and cruise, because in the second half, we don't want to see many points because we want the under 51 to cash as well. Like I said, most people that I respect and are betting larger amounts than I am are both on both of these sides too, and these are the sides that I felt more comfortable with. And if we're talking long shots on DraftKings, I like Kadarius Toney. Was it 90-1 to be the race to 20 rushing yards? I think that's a very fun way to approach it. I looked at a couple first touchdown scores. Honestly, I don't even want to bet the Jalen Hurtses or the Kelseys or the A.J. Browns. If I'm betting someone to score a first touchdown, you got to give me one of the ugliest bets like a Noah Gray or a Jody Forson or, something like that, or anyone on the Eagles is a running back or something. Kind of the game about 18-1. So, yeah, I need some nastiness in my life on Sunday. I hope you guys do too.
100% right there. Jody Fortson is the name I want to hear. I want to bet him to score a touchdown, honestly. He's like the tight end that always gets forgotten out of that.
It's only 10-1 for him to score a touchdown. And I'm like, what? And it's 60-1 for the first touchdown. I'm like, gotta do that.
All right, Stu, you're up.
Yeah, no, this isn't quite Jody Fortson right here. We're going Jalen Hurts to score a TD, the most dependable guy on the roster right here. Let's make it 3 straight playoff weeks in a row. Then I just talked about him. We're going Kadarius Toney over 26.5 receiving yards. It played up to 28, 29, and I do think it'll end up around there.
Beautiful. Right on time, Birdman, for your recap spot. I'll kick it to you here.
Yeah, Boston Scott. I expect he's hit this in 12-17, 4 straight. I think he continues that. He gets enough usage here to get 6 yards. I think the game script's going to be a positive one for him. And Kelsey, same thing. I can't see a Super Bowl here, do or die, that he doesn't get 10 targets in this game. And while I'm talking here, I will add three quick fun ones here that all are just go in the aggressive offense trio package here. Shortest made field goal over 27.5 yards. I don't expect either offense to kick a field goal from the 9-yard line. That's I don't see it happening. Longest fourth down conversion over 2.5 yards. Again, fourth down for the Eagles. 14 of 35 of their attempts for 3+ yards. They converted half of those. Looks a little bit better when you remove the 3 attempts of 10+ yards. So it's really hit in 10 of 14. That's before you even taking the Chiefs, who are 9 of 12 on fourth down. And then will there be a 2-point conversion attempt? I said yes. Butker had a little bit of an off year to what he's been in the past. All you need is 1 missed extra point, missed field goal for them to reconsider going for 2.
Beautiful. I love those. And my one play, I know I'm slacking today, guys. Only one play. I'm going Mahomes over 25.5 completions at -115. I think if you go over to FanDuel, it's like -128 or something like that. So we'll definitely like to grab it at this number. Full recap. Everything is out. Thank you guys for joining us. Tell us where to find you guys. Birdman, we'll start with you.
Half bird, half man on Twitter. Pretty straightforward. Give this page the PPS and monotone pass the prop. Give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube there. I don't have any links to drop. These guys do great work. Love you guys having me on here. And it wasn't said, but 4-0, I think, career on pass the prop. I put that to the test here with 2 more. So we'll see. We'll see if we can keep it going.
Well, why don't we read all 70 out then? If we have the good luck, why don't you just we do a little 5-minute edition? You keep that going.
I was going to talk to you there about doing the same thing as we did last year, where we do like the spaces like Saturday night and just kind of like quickly kind of go through, because there's some of this stuff is just feel. You look at prices, the price looks good. You kind of do some sort of math in your head, like, all right, I think there's better than a 40% chance this hits, or whatnot. I still have a full list of potential props, so I'm probably gonna get to 100. You add in the Sky Moore under and the Tony over and some of these other ones you guys are talking about. Probably probably going to be in triple digits.
Well, with that Sky Moore under, can I ask one more under question to you guys while I still got
Absolutely.
the channel right here? They're listing, it's only on PointsBet right now, and you have to pay -190. But Zach Pascal is at 10.5 receiving yards. Is there any way that cash it? Is there any way he's getting 11 receiving yards in this game? Like, I know you got to pay -190, but come on, Zach Pascal.
You know, it's weird. It's weird because there's always like a Super Bowl hero that nobody wants to bet, nobody wants to talk about, and for some reason that's because the thing is he's going to be on the field. He's a good blocker. So you know, there's those scenarios where if you're trying to beat someone's game plan, someone in depth like Spagnuolo and Andy Reid, it's maybe Pascal. Now I don't know what that over is. You know, the odds on the over. No, like, you know, if -190 for the under, what's the over?
+150.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. I'm not rushing to bet either, but like, I mean, it's more times than not the under comes in. But laying -190 and then seeing Pascal have one catch, 12 yards would be just so much pain. So
that's fair. That's fair.
I would take that under. I mean, I don't want the 190 price, obviously. That kind of sucks. You'd have to same game parlay or throw that with something else, college basketball or NBA or something. But, yeah, I mean, the dude's target share is like non-existent, to be honest.
I think most NFL fans think he's still on the Colts. I mean, I pretty much did as well. So, like, I don't know. Is he even going to be out there? Yeah, we'll see.
He has 19 targets on the whole year, 4%
It's funny you say that because I was tuning into, like, the Herd briefly earlier, and he was talking to Steve Smith, and Steve Smith was talking about, like the firepower for the Eagles, and he mentioned Zach Pascal, and I started like kind of chuckling, like, all right, if Steve Smith says that, watch, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He ran 9 routes against the Giants, 8 against the Niners.
Yeah.
He hasn't ran more than like 11 routes all season in a game. That's insane.
All right,
yeah, he blocks. He blocks. VMoney Sports. VMoney Sports on Twitter. Be doing Bet the Edge on NBA and college basketball Tuesday and Thursdays. Can't wait for hoop season, of course. It's a grind, as you know, PPS. College basketball is such a grind. But we're here for all of it. I hope everyone enjoys the Super Bowl Sunday. I'll be enjoying my Saturday at Harvard watching basketball, Ivy League hoops. Go Crimson. Let's go.
Only Ivy League team I'm backing, dude. I always just bet Cornell blindly first half over. It's just free money at this point. Those guys are running gun. You got to love those guys. But Stu, what do you got for them before we pop out here?
No, yeah, I mean, obviously great stuff today. I love hearing all the different bets. I could do this for, 2-3 hours every single day. Love talking. I mean, Super Bowl's giving us 1,000 bets, so Birdman's a little closer, but I'm willing to make 1,000 bets. If I have enough time in the day, I'll get there. But yeah, shout out to you guys doing the college basketball as well. Every time I join the StreamYard, I have to hear them talk about like Little Rock College versus Eastern Wyoming or something. Like places I've never heard of. These guys are grinding every single day. So a lot of respect there. I've been tailing some. I think you went 2-0 on Twitter yesterday, right, on the video. So obviously shout out to that. I love tailing all the random schools. It's just fun to show my friends, like, look, I've got this team playing today. So I know Super Bowl's a little sad. We miss a little bit of football, but there's tons of great stuff coming. We got MLB, college basketball, and NBA. So lots to look forward to.
Yeah, it's tough though when it's like a Friday night or something. You're having some drinks with your buddies and you're turning on a Portland State game, watching some bums, and their stream doesn't even work half the time. So that's what I'm watching. When you guys are watching good basketball, I'm watching that shit. That's what I'm watching.
PPS, I want to ask you. I want to tell you this. I saw a tweet yesterday. I meant to send it to you, but it said, "I can't believe how much better Iowa State basketball's offense is than Iowa State football and everything." And I started cracking up, but I was just thinking, like, at points, it's just, oh my God, I don't miss college football sometimes because of these type of teams. But college basketball, throw any sloppiness out there, and I want to watch all of it. I've had friends that couldn't watch any Iowa football, but trust me, I loved every second of it this year. I love the nastiness.
Yeah. Well, I could like Stu said, I could probably go for hours talking all this crap NCAA basketball that I like to watch, but we'll get you guys out of here in our under the hour like we usually do. Thank both of you guys for popping on here. We have both of their Twitters in the link below. Make sure you guys go follow them if you haven't already. I'm sure you guys already have. If you're already popping on here, this is not their first rodeo. on Pass the Prop. They've been doing very well for us when they get their chance on here. And hopefully we can continue to keep you undefeated there, Birdman. And make sure, I just want you to do one thing for me. When you get to that 100th bet, you need to put it out there on Twitter so I can tail that one and just throw an absolute hammer on your 100th bet of the Super Bowl, because I will be going on that one for sure. So
will do.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat later on and we will get to them. And best of luck on all your bets tonight. Huge NBA slate and obviously on the Super Bowl this weekend. So have a good one, guys, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
See ya.